All right, so this is episode 2 of the Bold Moves podcast. And so we actually have a very special guest. So I'm Matt Torres, and I have my co host here, Rachel Staggs. And we have our guest who is Sharlee Husky. It's Husky, right?
Yes, that's correct. Awesome dog.
So, Sharlee, welcome.
Thanks.
So, yeah, how do you feel about being on the podcast? Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm also nervous because it's my first time ever doing anything like this. So, yeah, I don't really know what to expect, but I'm so excited that you guys invited me to come on and chat with you guys. So, awesome.
So the Bold Moves podcast is about bold moves. Sure. Rachel, do you want to fill her in on like what we're looking for?
So our goal basically is to talk to other professionals who are kind of going through the same thing, who are creating their own bold moves in their own ways. So Sharlee, just tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know, even in being in insurance, right, a little bit of like your insurance sales background and story so people can get to know you, know who you are. And then the follow-up question is like, what do you feel is your bold move right now?
Gosh, these are good questions. Well, so I guess a little bit about me and my background. I guess I kicked off my career in the banking industry. So I always knew that I wanted to be a leader, and I wasn't very studious though either. So anyways, I was really young, working my way up the corporate ladder. And because I didn't have my degree, that was a huge hurdle that I had to overcome. Obviously, like the experience as well behind it. But anyways, I just had a passion for, being an advocate and really paving the way for people to live a better life, I guess. And anyways, so I worked really hard and worked my way up the corporate ladder. And I just realized that, no matter how far I got, unless I was like the CEO himself, well, even then, you really aren't making all the rules, I guess, because you have shareholders and stockholders that you still have to report to. So anyways, I just didn't really like that dynamic, and that really kind of shot me into my new career path of getting into insurance. And, I'm glad I have the leadership qualities that I possessed over the years, because obviously, as you guys know, like it does play a huge factor in what we do as insurance advisors and agents. So I don't regret my journey. I wish I had fallen into insurance sooner because I love it so much. But, the path is all for a reason, so. But anyways, and then kind of circling back to, I guess, my most recent bold move. Oh, my goodness. I honestly am like, I had to learn to dial it back a bit because I was like constantly doing so many bold moves. I was going to say crazy things, as my family would say, that I was like, okay, we really need to like slow it down a bit. So I guess recently was coming back to Comparion was a pretty bold move. So, but I was excited to come back and be a part of the agency again.
So I'm curious because like bold move, like, okay, so what did you do before Comparion? Did you say it and I just totally missed it?
No, you're good. So, well, I was in the banking industry, but prior to Comparion, I worked for a financial planning firm. And I ran the insurance division for them. So, we had a very comprehensive process, and honestly, it contributes a lot to my success now and bringing that into Comparion. Because I guess like when I first started with the financial planning firm, and I'm going to be very careful about saying names, just so you guys know, I'm very delicate with that. But anyways, so we connected on the educational piece, right? And because I'm not like a sales lady, like it's just not me. I'm really not dynamic. No, I'm not. I'm the straight shooter. Like I just like to teach people, and I want them to live their best life. And like, I'm just like, so not, I don't know. I guess I kind of associate sales with maybe like some sort of deception. And that's like, it's like,
that's so funny. That's exactly what my wife said. My wife was like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, yes, you are. And so she got a life insurance job, and now she just got promoted, and she's like hitting records and all this other stuff. I'm like, you are a salesperson. And she said the same thing. I thought it was all about like deception. And like, no, this is not.
It's like bad. Yeah.
Well, I think it's because of, I'll say it. My dad was in car sales for a long time. I think it's because of the car sales industry. That's their only experience dealing with a salesman, because you can say no to all the other ones. Think about it, door to door, right? But when you have that experience of buying a car, you have to deal with a person.
Yeah.
And so the sales connotation and where people get that is, think about how a used car salesman approaches you, hounds you.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you're not doing it fast enough, makes you feel like this needs to close tonight. And that might not be your intention, right? And your intention may have just been to look. You're just perusing right now. You're in that stage.
Okay, so you bring up a really good point, because seriously, when I was car shopping, they did the same thing. And oh my gosh, like if I feel pressured at all, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out 100%. And the way that I, conduct my business, I'm very like,
So
not pressure.
there's like clear differences between like professional sales and like sales. Like, so like I was like probably like 18, 19, one of my first sales jobs. I was at a call center. I, I think I can say it now. No. I did sell Cutco.
I thought you were going to say it. I thought you were a name drop. I was like,
That was fun.
I was like, we're about the same age-ish where like, yeah, that was a thing for like a good time.
Yeah, and Cutco was awesome. But I did work for this call center. It was called SMC Promotions. And they basically, had you ever heard Tom Bosley? He was like on Happy Days. He was like the dad, So back in the day, like that was like, the good spokesperson. Well, anyway, he was selling this package where you can make money and like all this other stuff. So I worked in the call center, and they literally wanted me to like strong arm these people into getting their credit card. And I was 18. I didn't know anything. I'm like, well, who wears the pants in the family? Like, well, don't you want to make a decision? Like, go get your credit card. And I would actually tell people, go get your credit card. Yeah, but bring it to the phone. All right, now what's the first number? Starts with the 4, and like.
You know what? I totally used to be that way also. So when I was in the corporate world, I did collections. Yeah. So talking about like hardcore stuff, I mean, I used to have some really tough conversations and straight up like, okay, if I would see someone's birthday, I'd be like, and you got birthday money coming, right? Like, it applied to this car payment. Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely taken it there too, but I hated it. So I was like, I can't stand this life.
And I didn't last long there. I bounced. I was like, I'm out. I gotta have a conscience. I can't do that. And it was funny because insurance was my first real professional gig. Like, it was a group insurance it was selling group insurance, and I got in there. I'm like, what is this world? Like, are you serious? Like, we go to dinners and like there would just be like so much wealth, and it's just like, wow, this is a totally different level. And it was there where it was like, okay, you're not like trying to manipulate anybody. Like, you're trying to help people and you're trying to solve their problem. And you're just trying to like have a conversation and build a relationship. And that's the part of sales that I like.
So I do all conversations.
Yeah.
If there happens to be commission down the road, like, this is awesome. But, like, there's just more to it. And I think if a lot of people like saw that and they didn't have like this stigma, like, oh, you're a salesperson, people don't close the door, and like you get a lot further.
I think also too, the stigma is the sales process, right? When we talk about post-buying and we talk about having those conversations, we are showing care. It's not, we're done, bye, see you never, you know what I mean? Talk to you never. No, it's very much so. You're going to be hearing from me. You're getting the paperwork in the next few hours. You're going to be getting a couple of emails from me. I'm sending you this text notification. We're going to have a relationship to another level. I'm not disappearing like a car salesman, right? So at the end of the day, I think there is that huge differentiation. I'll be honest, I do consider myself pretty much a salesperson at this point, but I just lead with, I think, the intention of like, I know where my intentions are, but I know that my intentions are good, and I am trying to lead them, especially when it comes to something like life insurance, down the right path so that it's for their greatest good. We have to also understand they're not a subject matter expert on this. Yeah. We are. When it comes to insurance. So they also sometimes don't know what it is that they need. I like the power of suggestion and letting people feel like it's their own idea. That has always yielded way more. I don't know. I can't strong on people either. It's not my way. But letting them think and asking a lot of questions, right? Leading them kind of like a counselor, leading them to figure it out themselves without ever telling them to do that.
Yeah.
And that's 100% though, like a great point. Whenever you hone into those leadership skills. So that's where I really was able to perfect that craft, because I didn't have that skill set prior. So Yeah.
And I feel like it's a balance because it's not like we're just formed, right? In a perfect world, we all be Beyonce and be amazing sales professionals. But like the reality is those skills and the different things that we hone in come in for us at different times. Like I feel like leadership is now where I'm mastering, where I've always had the creative ideas. I've always been able to get somebody from point A to point B. But I've taken, I'm now getting divorced after 12 years of marriage. So I am now taking more of a leadership role in my life at every facet where you can agree when you've been with somebody for that long, you get very codependent and you kind of maybe even change a little bit. Like I feel like I was so strong and a leader prior to being a mom and having kids and stuff and having a husband. When I was just me, I felt like I was. And I feel like I put everybody else as priority, where now that my kids are a little bit bigger, I can do that. Like I can fulfill that role of being a leader to other adults without feeling like I'm taking away from my children. Yep.
So I'm curious. So okay, so we're talking about bold moves. So you're at this, you're at Comparion and like, hitting records, I'm assuming, like going out of the gate. Like what like drove you to, take this bold move and a risk of like just leaving and going somewhere else? And you know what I mean? Like, I'm just curious.
Wow. It's a funny story. So basically, oh gosh, okay. Let me backtrack a little bit here. So I went blind in my left eye. There was like a whitewater rafting trip that I had done in like 2023. So anyways, that changed my life. And basically, honestly, I'm so blessed. I got so lucky. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm like the luckiest person in the world. I really feel this way because crazy things like this will happen to me. But
I feel like the highest highs are the lowest low. Yeah, like 1% things happen to me. Like I'll get picked for like by a celebrity or my dad will die from COVID. Like I won't know statistically. I feel, but I mean, said that I was like, oh my God,
but it's my heart. Exactly. But okay. And so it's like, even though something dramatic like that will happen in my life and yours, anybody's, right? Whatever.
I can't believe that happened to you.
I know. And so like, it's everyone, like when it first is happening, it's like, it's so negative. My mom was like, I was going to lose my eye. Like I was literally looking at prosthetic eye
size and like,
yes,
that looked like.
And so I'm like sitting crisscross applesauce in my apartment. Like, it's cool. Like, if there's anybody that could rock a glass eye, it's me. Like, I'm talking to myself like that. I'm like, I got it. And I'm like trying to calm myself down. I'm trying to calm my mom down, because she's like, oh, like you're going to have a hole in your face. And I'm like, okay, it's really not that dramatic. But anyway, it's a long thing. I know, it really is. Like, she was so like that. But
the side up would be for my daughter too.
Yeah.
Not probably for myself. I get that though, of like your kid. So worried.
So anyways, like everyone's freaking out during this time. I'm like trying to be all calm. And this is just like an example of really how my life goes. Like something crazy will happen where it should be perceived as negative, but I know that this is not where it stops, I don't know. Like this is just like how I'm built. So anyways, I get past through all this and I was sought out by Vinity, the financial planning firm that I worked for, and they're phenomenal. I mean, oh my gosh, highly intelligent individuals. Their process was phenomenal. Anyways, I developed so much from them. So I got injured, right? And I lost my job because I was not able to perform with the injury. And it actually like slows me down a lot. So anyways, but then I was recruited from Vinity and I was like, kind of like, are you sure you guys want me? Because I'm like a little slower here. But the skill set that they needed, basically I went into like an account management role at that point. And I kind of stepped back from being a producer. So now I was able to develop my knowledge in the insurance space on a more detailed level. And that has been able to help my career and educate clients and help, put together better programs. So it's like weird. I went from being a producer to account manager because of this injury. Then they ended up going a different direction. And I was actually going to leave the insurance industry because I wasn't going to like go through the process to find another agency. Because I bet, and it would have been my third or fourth time rolling my clients over. It's like, this isn't about me, right? Like I really care about these people and I want them to be taken care of. So there was just like a lot to consider. Anyways, Justin called me out of the blue and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I am staring at my wall, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life." And he was like, "Do you want to come into the office?" And I just knew. I was like, "Okay, I'll come work for you again." I was like, "You're the only person, honestly, that I would seriously like ever go back to, unless you're Steve Lyles." And I'll send this to him later. He was my supervisor at PayPal. He's the bomb. So yeah, no joke though. Because I can be a bit to manage.
But I get that too. I feel the same way about myself. So I understand, like, when you're shy, people that can get you, and understand that that's just how you are, and it's not personal. Like, they laughed. He and Paul laughed because I said, "Q-tip, quit taking it personal." It's like one of my mom's favorite things to tell people. Because majority of the time, somebody's in a bad mood, and it has absolutely nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
That's an excuse. That's a facade, right? That's something to blame. That's someone to blame. When in reality, they just had a knockdown, drag out fight with their spouse. You know what I mean? So we just never know. I think about that with some of the people we interact with on a daily basis. We just never know what's going on in their lives that has them riled up like that. But no, that's wonderful, and I'm so sorry, first of all, that happened to you. And I know everything, but you're bigger why, and you have such a good attitude of like, yeah, this is part of my destiny. Everything happened for a reason. But I'm so proud of you. And you were like, keeping your mom together, and you're like, "No, I'm gonna be fine. Like, I can rock a glass eye." Like, that's cool as fuck, Sharlee. Like, that's very metal of you. Because that girl, I would not be handling. I'm too big. I would have been like, not be handling that one.
Like, we balance each other out, because like I'm really bad about like advocating for myself.
Yes.
Because I'm a lot like you, where it's like, and I wonder, like, I don't know, I'm Italian, so I don't know if it's like part of like my culture too, where it's just like natural for you to like put others before you. Like, so
like in Mexican culture too, like especially when it comes to family, like you put your family before everybody else.
But yeah, it's like, I'm like, it's got to be a balance again. Yeah, it's all about balance. It's like, yes, and
families too, when you get married, and how that changes, right? Everything changes. But I had to have a conversation with my mom of like boundaries of like, this is now my family. Like, we're always going to be a family, but I now have a family. I have 2 kids that I have to think for. I can't go to every extended great grandma visit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're a little busy.
That kind of makes me happy that you just said that, because I'm like going through that phase with my mom right now too.
Have you ever read that book, Boundaries?
No.
So I forgot. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I have the audiobook. I'm like,
Yeah.
did I finish it? No.
It's a good book. I forgot the author.
It's like coloring, right? Isn't there like a crown on the Boundaries cover?
There's a few of them.
Oh.
I don't know which parody.
I was gonna say there's a couple different versions.
I think it's McLeod or where, I forgot his name. But the main book I've seen is Red. But it's a really good book that really kind of helps you understand the real meaning of boundaries. And like,
I think I actually may have read it. I think I do have the audio.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's an older book.
one.
Yeah.
They have them for like boundaries for work, boundaries for marriage.
That's what it was. I did the work one.
So the boundaries list for marriage is the one that I read, because my wife read it first, and then I'm like, what is going on here? Because she wasn't that dang good. And then I had to read the book, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and it makes sense. And if I hadn't read that book, we probably would have gotten divorced, because like, so a couple
Justice Cluck's scary. So you're my last bet, girl. I'm gonna listen.
in any, like, if there's a couple that is reading, they both got to read the book, because if one of them doesn't, then there's going to be issues. But really good book, and it not only like helps you with setting boundaries like in your marriage, which is healthy, by the way. Like, having boundaries in your marriage is healthy.
Any relationship, your friend, now, like, you have to.
But also in like work and like your professional relationships and like your job, like everything. Like, it's a lot of people don't see the boundaries, and then they end up crossing them, not knowing they're crossing them, and it just causes a lot of like angst and like anxiety. And just when you have that in your mind, and you can like put that out there, like, nope, this is a boundary, and then people will start to like realize it.
Me that about time management too, of like, I am a giving tree. I feel like you relate, of like, I'm always like trying to be there, trying to do this. He kind of sets me in check of like, I mean, you can't do more for your company, or you can't do more for your work than they're going to do for you. You have to have that delicate balance. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, duh. But you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're just too much of a tryhard, or you're new, or there's reasons you're trying to build. Right now, I'm trying to build a new book, meet all these new people. So to have pause and be like, yeah.
Well, and
Time management. That's true. I need to balance both, like sourcing and being in office, not feel like I'm stuck doing one or the other, you know?
I think that's the problem with like, the whole ADHD thing, because a big ADHD thing. And I was like scrolling through TikTok, and one of the things I saw was one of these things where like somebody was like neurodivergent and then like normal, typical, brain. The neurodivergent person, like they're like, they want to do 100% like every single time, like, and their 100% is probably like 150% for the normal person.
Oh my gosh, that's my problem. Me too. I had to.
But he spelled it out. I was like, oh yeah.
I literally had to figure that out the hard way, because I was coming at people like all hard, like where I'm like, why am I up here and you're telling me you're giving me 100% and you're here? Like, I'm not having it.
Well, one of my old managers who was very neurotypical and had to kind of tell me like, look, it's insurance. It's not brain surgery. Like, we're not like, what we're doing here is not gonna like, affect someone's life.
It's the same thing too, by the way. It's not brain surgery.
Yeah, exactly. It's
because we want to dissect and know it from every angle. That's how ADHD neurodivergence works, right? We're trying to seek to understand, and we're frustrated. Like, why don't you want to seek to understand? Why don't you want to know this as much as I want to know it?
Oh my gosh, we're all like that. It's so true.
And even in like with the people I dated or whatever while being separated, I've caught myself of like, why can't you rise to this standard? And I know I'm asking something of somebody that's a crazy standard.
Yeah.
What I've learned is like I had to be okay with knowing that somebody else's 100% is not the same as mine. And that's cool.
I've had to learn that not everybody's a vibrational match for me. Sometimes I'm like a puzzle, like trying to put that last puzzle piece in, and I'm mad that it doesn't fit, and I'm trying to force it in. I'm trying to make it fit and manipulate it, when sometimes you just need to go buy another puzzle. Yeah, that's my biggest lesson of like the last decade.
So I've just like very recently come across like this whole ADHD thing and realizing like my entire life has been such a struggle. And like you said, like we're always like trying harder than everyone else, but all of that trying was to get me on par with like the rest of the world. You kind of feel like you're just like this failure. You're just like, why? And then, I started getting some help. And, actually some support, you know what I mean? I'm talking about, some medication that actually makes life a heck of a lot easier.
Same here.
That same amount of energy and like what you're doing, all of a sudden now like puts you in another bracket, and you're just like accomplishing like so much more. It's almost like this realization, like, wow, I don't really need to do that much, because, you know what I mean?
For power. Like what we needed help with was like the organizational part of our brain, which is what turns that noise off that those medicines help with, of like turning the noise. Like, so I try to describe ADHD as like, when you have a song stuck in your head, but then you have 72 other browsers open.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it feels.
Yeah.
It's so true. Oh my gosh, it's literally so true. You have like so many windows.
I have so many windows that we're trying to figure out. And I don't know which window I need to clean first, because I got 72 windows.
And doesn't that frustrate you? Because you're like, we need to clean up this mess. I hate this. And now you're like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. There's that overwhelmed, like I remember going to bed so many times and just constantly things going on in my brain. Okay, tomorrow I got this, I got to do that. Well, how am I going to do this? But then I got to do that. Like, they're just so, and like now it's just kind of like calm. I can go to sleep. I don't know how those things, because like, why am I worrying about it right now? I nothing that I could do right now. I'm in bed. Like, there's nothing I can do.
I started taking a meditation too to kind of help with that also. So I'm new at it. It's hard.
I listen to manifestations at night, and it's helped my sleep. No words. Just like the vibrational frequencies.
Oh, right.
It has helped me tremendously. I used to have terrible nightmares after everything with my dad. But that's helped me tremendously to block out the noise that's in my brain. I am currently unmedicated, truth be told. Should not be. We'll see how that plays out. But I'm getting tested for all these things right now, a whole myriad of things, so I can have an official diagnosis. I grew up with an elementary school counselor mom. So moms like that are scared of their child who's high functioning to have a label. So from the insurance perspective and all of that, my mom did not want me to have that label. It is so necessary, though, for me to be successful. In that way, of like, this is the first time that I'm really conquering that side of things.
I'm so glad you are, though. I mean, you need to.
Yeah. I used to have this stigma with labels too. And then again, here's something else I found, like scrolling around, dopamine seeking, somebody said, why are labels important? And this guy was saying he spent his whole life being a zebra, trying to fit in with like the horses and trying to figure out like, why he wasn't a horse. But then now he found his other zebras and like, okay, I'm a normal zebra. You know what I mean? Like, it makes a lot of sense.
I told my therapist of like, she's like, well, what do you think because she has that perspective too, similar to my mom of like, well, yeah, label, like you just have to make sure that the benefit outweighs, the risk, right? Of that liability and stuff. But no, that's exactly what I told her. I said, I need to feel like I'm not crazy, if that makes any sense at all to her. And she's like, oh no, that makes sense. I need to know that I have had these issues for a reason and a why, so that I can learn about that better. So I can understand myself, seek to understand. I'm trying to seek to understand what's going on upstairs. How did I want to date somebody for 2 months? And then I'm like, no, immediate. And that's it. And that's how I can be. And so, going through and I think admitting to anyone's self that there's a deficit or that there's something that they need to fix is huge, no matter what it is. But I feel like ADHD is both like a blessing and a curse, because we can do things so much more than other people and get so much more out of our day. But we also get chastised and called squirrel, So it's tough. It's tough to be in that role.
It's funny that you say that. I mean, yeah, because totally. I do get called too, but I lean into that stuff. So, like, I'm the type of person, I don't know, yeah, I do. I lean into it. Like, if it's supposed to be, like, perceived as a negative, like, if someone calls me a squirrel, I'm like, yeah.
They always handle it well. You always handle it tactfully and with grace. And I just feel like those labels, right, are meant to hurt us or to affect us. And it's our opportunity to have ownership over it and how we move when that happens. Because you're like, yeah, I might be a squirrel, but I bound 6 policies today.
Yeah.
That's what a squirrel can do.
It was my first interview out of college. I went to this one financial firm place, and they were part of their interview was doing this Excel spreadsheet and like just manipulating some data. I'm a nerd. I love Excel. You know what I mean? So I got in there and I'm like, ooh, okay. I'm doing all this stuff. And then I see the interviewer come in and she's like, are you done? I'm like, no, I'm still doing it. Like, and she comes in like 4 or 5 different times. I'm like, dude, give me some time here. I'm working here. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm done. And like 4 hours had gone by and I'm like, what? Like, so when people talk about time blindness, they think, oh, that's stupid. They're just trying to get out of stuff. No, there is literal.
Yes. About when they were like questioning, I was like, well, we're going to the dealerships at 2:30. Like, if we're hitting 3 or 4, like it's gonna be 4:15. You're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
and I get like that too. But mine's always in the morning because that's where like I'm super efficient. I think I have like an hour more to leave the house, and I really have 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh, same. Ugh, yeah. I love same problem.
Like I saw this thing where it was like saying someone has, like in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you got to do this. Oh, I can like get this done, that done, that done. But when you break it down, 10 minutes is like 600 seconds. You're like 600 seconds. Like, okay, yeah, I don't have time. Like it's just so weird. Like the concept of time just totally, yeah. So that, having help us just say, so, a fee is, yeah. It's changed my world a little bit. But okay, so anyway, I want to go back to like the risk. So you left and then you came back. So like, what was that like? I mean,
culture-wise, social-wise, all the ways.
Okay, so it was like a dramatic leave. I was like so heartbroken to leave Justin because he really is a great leader and I have so much respect for him. And when I told him that I was leaving, again, I'm a very authentic person. Like, I really don't know how else to be. So I'm like basically pouring my heart out to him, right? Professionally. And I'm like, I hope he knows, like, I mean what I'm saying. And I was with him like just under a year. So that was like another battle internally, right? Because you don't like to leave, a new place. prematurely. But anyway, so I was being recruited though by an independent agency, and Comparion, we were still trying to figure it out then. So, and I'm just very like, I don't like the chains on me, I hate that feeling. And so it felt that way a little bit. And just this other agency, I mean, gosh, they were trying to recruit me for like 4 months.
And they work hard. They try to be super common in our industry. They'll find somebody who's doing well, and they're like,
he would not leave me alone, like so bad. I mean, so one of my friends worked for him. So he had my friend hitting me up. He had me on Facebook, took me out to a really nice dinner in Scottsdale.
and he was pulling out all the stops.
Emails. I mean, like, would not leave me alone. And so, well, so finally, he, and I didn't know much about the insurance industry, right? Or like being independent either. So I was figuring out that dynamic as well. So anyways,
You had that previous corporate experience. I think we shared the same word provider.
Exactly. Yeah. So I started with USAA, right? And that was like my first leg into insurance. And again, they're still corporate. So after that, then segueing out of there is when I went into Comparion, and then again was recruited by this outside agency. And so I'm still trying to figure out, what this life is like. And I know that like this is what I want, and I want to master it. And so anyways, it ended up not being like the best experience. Well, I don't want to say it wasn't the best experience, but because it was all, I needed it, right? I learned so much. Again, yeah, I learned so much. That's all I have to say. But anyways, yeah, coming back, I guess now to Comparion, the culture has like totally changed, actually. I'm trying to think, I don't want to say that it was like more stiffy last time, but like kind of, I think the pressure was there, right? Because we were bridging from being a captive agency. You're going from Liberty Mutual to now you're creating a big Comparion independent agency, and they did it overnight. And that's a lot to do, right? Especially when you're going from a captive to that independent space. There's a lot to learn. That is a lot to learn. So initially,
to put it in perspective, we have like 25, 30 carriers, whereas when she and I were both writing for that company, that's your one carrier, and you have 50 states, like you got a little bit state-specific information that's a little different. But generally speaking, you're telling everybody the same thing. In our situation, we have 20 carriers that they could possibly have. So it's a unique situation at the carrier level for each thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you got to worry about state specific, but now you got to worry about carrier specific.
Yeah.
And then you're also an advocate for your clients as well. Insurance law. I mean, there's so much that plays into it. Like we really do have a lot on our plate, and we juggle a lot. So it's just balance. I really feel is like the key word for me lately. But anyways, so coming back around though, now that we're kind of getting our legs underneath us and we're figuring out what it's like to truly be in that independent space and how to level up as professionals and in the insurance industry. I mean, now I really feel like we can let our hair down and just, go out and meet people, and that's literally all I do every day is just review their insurance program, educate them, and keep it moving, just build those really great relationships. And that's the culture, that's the dynamic now. And that's what I love. That was always the vision initially. But, again, obviously, like with that pressure, I think it took some time to get there. So yeah. I'm happy with where we're at now. And I'm so excited we're going to continue to go. I mean, I see great things. It's been night and day. So.
Yeah, I see Comparion being like a real powerful force in the industry, just because of what they can do, and just the people. I mean, just everyone they bring on. Just really great people.
I love that we're local and in the community. Like, it's so huge, and I just love that we bring that aspect, and it's nationwide, right? So like we all have our own little impact.
It's so interesting because like there's been this real big push like to have everything digital and like not talk to anybody and like like that's yes but yeah yes and no, like it doesn't really work because like if you're talking about car insurance and everyone's you've seen those apps like, oh, you're paying too much for car insurance, get this. Well, yeah, if you want like very minimal limits and like put yourself in.
I like honestly, is it even worth it? Because it is so like it's like a pet peeve of mine when I hear someone be like, oh my gosh, that premium is so expensive. I'm like, well, it's a lot less expensive than having your claim denied. And guess what? That's happening a lot lately because the carrier's not profitable. I mean, we've had record claims and time frames to even complete these claims, payouts. It's nuts. It's nuts. So I'm just like, do it right because it's not worth it. I mean, yeah, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but my mom, one of her best friends, I had to help her through a situation because she was going to have, or they were trying to deny her claim. But this is why it's so important to read these contracts though, too. So that's another thing that I'll point out is we have all these carriers, right? Well, I read every single one of those contracts because that's what they're going to hold you to come claim time. So I figured that out the hard way. So I'm like, okay, well, if that's how we're going to play the game, well, I'm going to master it. So I'm very well versed in these contracts. And essentially what had happened is she recently licensed her daughter at 18. Okay, she didn't do it at 16, right? And this is a new thing that is coming about with all the carriers where they're having you list if you're 15 years or older, whether you are licensed or not. Like if you have a permit, whatever, if you are 15 years, they want to know that you're there.
That you're in the house.
Yep, you have to acknowledge it.
The child who's a child can take the car.
Exactly. And there's been multiple claims where that has happened.
And they can deny coverage because child was never listed on the policy.
Exactly. So that was what was going to happen. So she contacted her agent. She said, hey, just licensed my daughter. Waited a while, right? She's 18, got her a car. The agent added the vehicle on there, but they didn't add the daughter. I don't know why, right? So anyways, whatever. A mistake. Daughter gets in an accident. It's a 3-car pileup, okay, on the freeway. So of course that happens. So anyways, they're like, yeah, she's not on the policy. We're going to deny this. And not only that, so she was the last car. So they were trying to say, well, we don't know if she actually started it all and pushed the middle car into the front car. So now you don't have coverage and you have your totaled car, the totaled car in front of you, and then the totaled car in front of that person. And they're trying to say that's going to be all on you. That's over, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. She was so stressed out. I felt so bad. Can you imagine? It made me so angry. I'm sorry, I get so passionate. But so you're dealing with a call center person, right? They don't care. Just, were they on the policy? Yes or no? And so
I would tell everybody, and this is both as an insurance professional and just as a friend, right? Ask for the recorded call.
Already, yep. So I advised her to do that as well.
As the consumer. Yeah. I'm not talking about, I'm saying you're in that situation and you said it and it's a corporate call center.
Well,
it depends, right? But so in that situation.
She was dealing with an adjuster is what I was saying. Her agent, she was cell phone, like how we operate. So I had already advised her that. So she didn't have the call recording, but she did have the timestamps of the calls and she did have the email. So I went over to her house. I was like, look, what all do you have?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to lie. Like my initial thought was, were you being honest? Because I do come across some people that try to not fully disclose, right?
No, but also scared, right? Because they know they may have done wrong. So they're trying to say things without saying them.
Right. Yeah. And
sometimes
I know, like, hey, God, tell them. But I tell my clients, I'm like, look, you be open and honest with me because, like, the most important thing is, like, we just got to write it correctly. So anyways, I go to her and I'm like, okay, look, like, did you do everything that you were supposed to do? Because if you didn't, I'm going to be very upset. Okay. And I'm not going to advocate for it. Like, you need to do it. You need to do your part. So anyways, she did do her part. So I was like, okay, it's time to go to town. I was like, let me see that contract.
Yeah.
And it said, again, there's always this stuff in here, okay? There's always a time frame.
Yeah.
For every
30 days.
30 days, vehicle 60 days, 14. There's always a time frame. Yeah. So because She was newly licensed within 6 months. It stated it specifically in their contract. The daughter automatically had coverage because she was a household resident. I highlighted it, said send that into the adjuster. Claims approved.
Dude, that's amazing.
But you have to do your due diligence because every carrier would have been different. So it was awesome that you were able to provide that information for her when the average Asian couldn't. Let's be honest. Feels so bad about and beyond.
But that's what made me mad is she goes back to her agent and I'll be honest, like if I messed up, I'm going to tell you I messed up.
Not too. I would tell my boss, I'm sorry, that hates at me. That's my me.
A man had the audacity. This is another thing that just irks me in our industry. It's not everybody, but it's
out there. They'll say people never said that, or what did he say?
He said, I talk to so many people a day, I can't recall. I hate that. What the most political answer you could get?
Notes, because we have notes in our system with every single person.
Wrong that too. Like the type of profession that we're in, how is that going to be on up?
How do you not know who she is? First of all, how do you not know?
Our job is to
any time out your faceness. I know.
What are you doing? What? I just that drove me nuts. So anyways, she was really upset, but I was like, look, I run into this all the time. And I'm that person, like, you don't want to go toe to toe because, like, I'm correct.
It can get a little bit of ego, too, like, on that gentleman's perspective of not wanting to admit he did wrong. But the most powerful thing you can do is admit you did wrong and apologize for it. Apologize profusely and then try to rectify it. Hold on. You don't pretend at all. I don't know how this, claim happens. No,
yeah, like it. Yeah, you hands up. I don't know. Figure it out. I hate that.
That's crazy. That just goes to show, like having that local agent in your corner really can make a huge difference, which a lot of people don't realize.
And again, though, kind of circling back to your point, though, of like you said, everyone likes it to be, or I don't know, we're all going towards this like technology, like mainly technology based, but that's the importance of like having that authentic relationship. Like seriously, I'll go to my client's house all the time. Like I literally walk into their house. And again, my mom, you're gonna die. Someone's gonna kill you. And I'm like, no, okay. Most people are good, all right. But I do have like that really personal aspect, and I am front and center. But it's like, yeah, I really feel like our job, we kind of have to be that.
Especially for like industries like life insurance that are so delicate, and you're talking about something that might make somebody a little uneasy, a little bit nervous, right? A little bit uncomfortable to, just clear minds, make them feel at ease, make them feel like it's going to be, you are going to be protected. We are going to get this situated today. So when that does and the inevitable does happen, you're prepared, your family's prepared. And that's our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to have people feel like we are in their corner and we aren't just their insurance agent, which I think, you had mentioned it, but the role and being able to have the accessibility to us on our phones, right? And if they do decide to add another vehicle at 7 p.m., that they can text you, that they have that opportunity. And as both of you mentioned, that's the beautiful part of how Comparion is structured. I honestly feel like we all win in that situation of having that connectivity, that constant contact.
So we are coming up on time. Sharlee, do you have any like events coming up or anything that you want to plug or
shout out your networking or anything you have coming up?
Yeah, we have a wicked awesome happy hour tonight at Singing Pandas in Chandler. Yeah, oh my gosh, I hope I remember to send you guys the invite. I'm sorry because I'm a 10-second Tom.
No,
but I was like kind of like, push it out.
Ending in the future so that they might be able to come. Too, if there's anything pushed out in the next couple.
What's a month?
So typically I do host a happy hour at the distillery every third Thursday of the month. I decided to forego it this month because I am attending the Wicked Awesome Happy Hour, which is tonight. So my event was going to be tomorrow. So I was like, hey, I really wanted to see Dave, who's hosting it. And, a chance to kind of just like mix things up, right, and network with other professionals. So, but typically it is at the distillery every third Thursday of the month. So I do announce it though every month if, we're hosting it on social media.
And where is this Wicked?
Wicked Awesome Happy Hour is at Singing Pandas in Chandler tonight.
Nice. At what time?
6 to 9 p.m.
All right. Well, I got to get this uploaded on there before then. Cool. Rachel, anything you want to add or?
Okay. This is great.
Yeah. We're talking about bold risks. We're we're all in the insurance industry. We mitigate risk. I mean, so I definitely think if anybody has wants to have a conversation about that, and they definitely know how to reach us. You're on the Comparian website. We're both on there too. Yeah. So it's an easy place to go, but this has been fun.
It's not just any Comparion website.
Chandler Comparian.
That's how you be. Shameless plug.
Yeah. Dude, we gotta throw that in there because, we're a competition.
Lean competition.
Well, it's been fun, guys. Signing out. Bold Moves Podcast. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week.